Hey, it's the O Wrestling Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to hit that bell on YouTube and subscribe to the podcast on any and all podcasting platforms. I'm your host, CW. We're in WrestleMania season, people. We're talking about WrestleMania all the way up till, well, Friday, I suppose. And then Saturday is the big show. And Sunday is the big show. It's still weird to me that WrestleMania is 2 nights, but it makes sense. It's a big wrestling show. Why not split it across days? Today's topic, though, is called Throw Them All In. Why am I calling it that? Because inevitably, during WrestleMania, there are a number of superstars who are, I would say, over, either mid-card or even, some of the top women or men in the company, but they don't have a spot on the greatest show, on the grandest stage of them all. So WWE usually finds a way to kind of toss a lot of people into one match. It is the reason why the Andre the Giant Battle Royale even exists. Simply a way to get a lot of people in the ring, give them a WrestleMania moment, even if it's, a little bit of shine, just getting their entrance on the show or, whatever. But this year, there are at least 3 matches that are doing that exact thing. So, and sadly, the Andre the Giant Battle Royale isn't even being held on WrestleMania. They've moved that honor, I suppose, to SmackDown. The WrestleMania SmackDown, they call it, the night before Mania. And in that match are just a cavalcade of people who have done great work over the past year, I would say. People who have been getting put over, who've been getting momentum, and one person in particular who I think doesn't deserve to be in that match, which is Bobby Lashley. But there's the likes of Madcap Moss, Xavier Woods is in there. Oof, boy, there's so many. Corbin, you name it. I mean, I can't even name all the people. I don't have the list in front of me, but it's just a crazy amount of folks gearing up to, I don't know, do the most nonsense in the ring at the same time. WWE's whole thing about piling talent into the ring and just having them kind of collide with each other until one person's standing is definitely an old school match type. They're doing it's basically a tiny Royal Rumble. You get tossed out, and then the last person gets a gigantic trophy that leads to nothing, by the way. The biggest thing about WWE is they have a lot of these sort of pomp and circumstance ceremonial matches that ultimately mean very little. And I'll go back to my original point of the Hall of Fame, where the Hall of Fame doesn't really mean anything because there is no physical or even digital Hall of Fame. Their website has sort of like random recaps of what happened during WrestleMania, but it's been put on the fans, I would say, to kind of chronicle who's in the Hall of Fame to begin with. There's no centralized place to even find that stuff. I think they get a ring or something, and then they all walk out on stage during WrestleMania. But as for it like being a thing, like an actual Hall of Fame, it's not. It's simply another event for people to do, to show up. This one allows wrestlers to put on a suit. But this Andre the Giant Battle Royale, at the end, someone's going to get handed a trophy. I would assume it would be Bobby Lashley. If Bobby Lashley doesn't win, I will almost guarantee he'll be the last 2. And then whatever happens will lead to his post-WrestleMania sort of direction. But there's no other reason to have Bobby Lashley in that match for him to either win or lose right at the end to start a feud with somebody. Because there's that match means nothing. They're literally just tossing bodies in there. And the same can be said for their showcase matches. I think they're called. The gigantic fatal 4-way tag team matches that are happening, which just took a bunch of super talented tag teams and some just random teams that they had to kind of pair together to have, more matches on the card. The fatal 4-way tag team match in the women's division is definitely a stepping stone for Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. They're the only actual team on the roster, on the card for that match. Liv and Raquel is very much a pairing in a weird space. They've feuded, they've, been friendly. They were a tag team at one point and then they broke up and whatever. But Liv Morgan has tagged with basically everybody in the women's division. So that tag team is a little strange to me. Shotzi and Natalya have been an on and off tag team, but Shotzi got injured, so Natalya was kind of jumping between different partners. But again, not an actual team. They're both obviously singles wrestlers. Same for Liv and Raquel Rodriguez. And then Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville were literally tossed together on Raw, and then won their match against Candice LeRae and Mia Yim, who have been quickly shuffled down the card since their return. Especially Mia Yim, who made a triumphant return with the OC, and since AJ Styles has been injured and Judgment Day has moved on to Rhea being, championship material, Mia Yim has been left in the lurch doing, house shows and nothing else, and she's such a fantastic talent. We need to get her back on the scene, but she's taking pins for just to get into WrestleMania now. And the people who get in are Deville and Chelsea Green. I mean, I'm not knocking them, but again, the team is such a throw together. These four teams are so oddly paired, except for Shayna and Ronda, who are obviously a tag team. They've been a team for years now. So it's obviously just a vehicle for those two to win and then to get to take on for the women's tag division titles. But then on the men's side, they have their fatal four-way with Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Street Profits versus the Viking Raiders versus Alpha Academy. Now, every single team on that match is a legitimate team who has done great work. Street Profits have been getting a lot of heat. Braun Strowman and Ricochet hopped the line in that tag team tournament and ultimately lost to the Usos, but they put on some great matches on SmackDown. Still an odd pairing. Viking Raiders have been kicking everyone's ass as of late, especially was it Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, who then, even though they lost to the Viking Raiders or periodically got their butt kicked by them, they're now taking on Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. I don't know. It's weird. And Alpha Academy, who is, I think, the backbone of Raw. Let's be honest. Chad Gable is the ultimate utility player, and that, I don't know if that would be considered an insult, but that dude can wrestle his complete ass off. He is the closest thing that they have to Kurt Angle on the roster right now, and every match he does, he looks fantastic. He makes whoever he's wrestling look fantastic. And Otis is in the same boat. The man is a fantastic talent. He puts everybody over, and he's genuinely funny. Like you can see that he's just being himself, and he's just fun to watch. So having all those teams kind of collide together, and they kind of did a 4v4 tag match on Raw, which was fine. But I didn't like the fact that they even put them in the same ring if they're going to compete at the end of the week. But whatever, that's kind of the whole lead up to the match, I suppose. But having those four teams go at each other, I don't know what this is for, nor are there stakes for this match. Like the teams on both the women and the men's side get nothing on the win, besides, I guess, some shine, maybe. I still think that on the women's side, they're going to get a shot at the titles. But the men's side, there's no guarantee anything's going to happen for them, because if, let's say, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn win, I mean, yeah, the winner of that Fatal 4-Way could go on to take them on. But if the Usos win, then yeah, there's no point. Anyway, what do you think of these kind of thrown together matches with all your favorite forgotten random performers? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for listening again. It's been 10 minutes already. Don't you ever forget.
I'm your friend, but if I ever see you in the ring, I can beat you. Don't you know? Yeah, yeah, yeah.